Inauguration. A formal ceremony to mark the beginning of something, especially a leader's term. Commencement. Initiation. Launch. Opening. Describe a significant event you attended that marked the beginning of something important. The inauguration of the new library in our town was an unforgettable event. This commencement symbolized a leap toward education and accessibility for the community, marking an era of enlightenment. Crony capitalism. An economic system characterized by close relationships between business and government. Nepotistic system. Oligarchical setup. Favoritism economy. Collusive capitalism. What do you think about systems where business and government share overly close ties? Crony capitalism often leads to an imbalance in society. This nepotistic system prioritizes private interests over public welfare, making it harder for smaller businesses to thrive or compete fairly. Demagogue. A political leader who seeks support by appealing to popular desires rather than rational arguments. Agitator. Populist. Rabble-rouser. Instigator. Can you discuss a leader whose popularity stems from their influence on public emotions? A demagogue often rises by stirring the emotions of the masses. Such leaders, like any agitator or rabble-rouser, usually create strong divides in society while manipulating collective sentiments. Spin doctor. A public relations expert who aims to shape public perception in favor of a person or idea. PR strategist. Image consultant. Media handler. Communications advisor. Do you think spin doctors influence public opinion effectively? Spin doctors play a critical role in shaping narratives. PR strategists use media tactfully to convey specific perspectives, influencing public reactions, especially during crises or campaigns. Municipality. A city or town that has corporate status and local governance. Local authority. Borough. Township. Urban district. How does local governance impact the lives of citizens? A municipality ensures essential services like waste management and infrastructure maintenance. Local authorities also create opportunities for public engagement to address urban challenges. Confederation. A union or alliance between states or groups for a common purpose. Federation. League. Coalition. Partnership. Can you explain the importance of confederations in international politics? Confederations, such as coalitions or leagues, enable member states to pursue collective interests. Partnerships like these often drive economic, political, or social advancements globally. Entente. A friendly understanding or informal alliance between states. Agreement. Concord. Pact. Accord. What are the benefits of an entente between countries? An entente fosters collaboration and mutual trust. Such agreements or pacts improve diplomatic relations, ensuring peace and cooperative efforts in areas like trade or defense. Kleptocracy. A government characterized by rampant corruption and theft of public funds. Corrupt regime. Plutocracy. Exploitative system. Misgovernance. Why do kleptocratic governments face criticism globally? Kleptocracy undermines citizens' welfare. Such exploitative systems prioritize the elite, disregarding ethical governance and draining national resources for personal gain, harming development. Sovereignty. Supreme authority or independence of a state to govern itself. autonomy, self-rule, independence, territorial control. Why is sovereignty crucial for maintaining a nation's identity? Sovereignty guarantees a nation's self-rule and independence. Territorial control reinforces its ability to create policies, preserving its cultural and political identity amid global interactions. To ratify. To formally approve or confirm something, such as a treaty or agreement. Sanction. Validate. Endorse. Authorize. Why is it important for governments to ratify international agreements? To ratify treaties is pivotal for maintaining global harmony. By sanctioning and endorsing agreements, countries validate commitments, ensuring cooperation on trade, environment, and security. To prorogue. To discontinue a session of Parliament or legislature temporarily without dissolving it. Postpone. Suspend. Delay. Defer. Why do governments sometimes choose to prorogue parliamentary sessions? Governments prorogue sessions to manage crises or reconfigure strategies. This postponement ensures necessary reforms can be assessed efficiently without dissolving the Legislative Assembly. To devolve on. To pass or transfer duties, powers, or responsibilities to someone else. Delegate. Transfer. Assign. Entrust. Can you explain why responsibilities often devolve on specific individuals and organizations? In organizations, duties may devolve on competent individuals to maintain efficiency. By delegating or entrusting tasks, operations become streamlined and better distributed across teams. To levy. To impose or collect taxes, fees, or fines officially. Impose. Charge. Enforce. Collect. How do levies contribute to the development of a nation? Levies are essential for infrastructure and public services. Governments impose taxes to charge citizens fairly and fund development projects, ensuring sustainable growth and public welfare. Veto. To reject or prohibit decisions or proposals made by others. Override. Nullify. Reject. Block. How does the power of veto influence decision-making in global politics? The veto power allows nations to override proposals that conflict with their interests. Such decisions, though sometimes controversial, ensure balance and equitable negotiations in global forums. To subsidize. To support financially, often by a government providing aid to organizations or individuals. Fund. Assist. Support. Sponsor. Why do governments subsidize industries, and is it beneficial? Governments subsidize sectors to stimulate growth and innovation. By funding businesses or assisting key industries, such sponsorship enhances competitiveness and fosters economic stability. Oligarchy. A government where power resides in the hands of a small, privileged group. Elite rule. Plutocracy. Aristocracy. Bureaucratic control. What challenges do oligarchies pose to democratic values? Oligarchies centralize power, benefiting only the elite. Such elitist rule diminishes public participation, often leading to inequality and a disconnect between the rulers and general citizens. Plutocracy. A system of governance where the wealthy hold the most power. Wealth-driven rule. Oligarchy. Aristocracy. Elitist governance. Why do some people criticize the concept of plutocracy? Plutocracy is often seen as unfair, as wealth-driven rule allows the rich to dominate political decisions. This elitist governance prioritizes the affluent over the welfare of the majority. To decentralize. To distribute authority or power from a central body to local units. Devolve. Delegate. Distribute. Empower. How does decentralization help in improving governance? Decentralization improves governance by devolving authority. It allows local bodies to take decisions, empowering communities and ensuring effective distribution of resources and services. To federalize. To unite smaller states or territories under a single central authority. Unify. Centralize. Combine. Integrate. Why do countries choose to federalize their political systems? Federalizing ensures unity while maintaining regional autonomy. Unifying states under a common system helps in balancing central authority with the diverse needs of local governments. Approbation. Formal approval or praise for an action, idea, or decision. Endorsement. Authorization. Validation. Commendation. How important is approbation in professional environments? Approbation, such as an endorsement or commendation, boosts morale. Employees feel valued when their efforts receive validation, leading to greater workplace satisfaction and productivity. Imprimatur. Formal approval or permission to proceed, especially for publications. Consent. License. Authorization. Sanction. How does having an imprimatur affect a creative project? Imprimatur provides formal sanction for creative works. With such authorization, creators gain legitimacy, ensuring their ideas are accepted and appreciated by the intended audience. Nepotism. Favoritism shown to relatives or close friends, especially in jobs or offices. Cronyism. Bias. Preferential treatment. Partisanship. Why is nepotism a controversial issue in workplaces? Nepotism disrupts workplace fairness. Favoritism, such as cronyism, often undermines merit and talent, creating an environment where biased decisions affect overall productivity and motivation. Protectorate. A state controlled or protected by another more powerful one. Dependency. Client state. Vassal state. Subordinate region. How does a protectorate relationship benefit smaller nations? A protectorate benefits from the defense and support of a larger state. Such dependency ensures economic and military security, although it might limit the subordinate region's autonomy. Fiefdom. A territory or organization controlled by a single dominant individual. Dominion. Enclave. Sphere. Territory. How does fiefdom-like control impact modern organizations? Fiefdoms concentrate power in one person, which can lead to inefficiencies. A dominion controlled by an individual may stifle creativity and fail to adapt to modern challenges effectively. Syndicalism. A movement advocating for workers' control of industries via trade unions. Labor activism. Unionism. Workers' control. Trade unionism. What role does syndicalism play in modern labor movements? Syndicalism empowers workers by promoting unionism and workers' control over industries. Such labor activism enhances fair treatment, fostering equality and collaboration in workplaces. Interregnum. A period of pause in government leadership, often between rulers. Transitional era. Interval. Leadership gap. Pause. How does interregnum impact governance? Interregnum can lead to uncertainty in leadership. This transitional era or interval is an opportunity for political restructuring, but also a time of instability if plans are unclear. Petition. A formal request signed by many people seeking change or action from authorities. Appeal. Plea. Proposal. Request. What is the significance of petitions in democratic systems? Petitions give citizens a voice to propose changes or express concerns. Such appeals ensure active participation in governance, encouraging accountability and transparency in leadership. Mandamus. A court order directing a public authority to perform its legal duty. Command. Directive. Legal instruction. Writ. Can you discuss the importance of mandamus in protecting citizens' rights? Mandamus protects individuals by enforcing legal obligations. Such directives or writs ensure that authorities fulfill their duties, safeguarding justice and accountability in public service. Statute. A written law enacted by a legislative body. Regulation. Legislation. Rule. Ordinance. Why are statutes important in maintaining order in society? Statutes ensure structured governance by formalizing rules and regulations. Such legislation preserves societal order and fairness, offering clear frameworks for resolving conflicts. Filibuster. A tactic used in legislature to delay or obstruct decision-making. Procrastination. Blockade. Obstruction. Delay. How does filibustering influence the legislative process? Filibustering can prevent rash decisions by delaying proceedings. While obstruction tactics like these are often controversial, they allow extended deliberation on critical issues. Plebiscite. A direct vote by all citizens on a specific political or constitutional issue. Referendum. Poll. Popular vote. Ballot. How significant is a plebiscite in resolving national issues? A plebiscite fosters public engagement by allowing citizens to express their views through a popular vote. Such referenda are crucial for legitimizing important constitutional decisions. Gubernatorial. Relating to the office or position of a governor. Provincial. Administrative. Executive. State level. How do gubernatorial elections impact regional governance? Gubernatorial elections shape regional policies through executive leadership. These state-level contests ensure administrative priorities align with the population's needs. Lobbyist. A person who seeks to influence policymakers on behalf of a specific interest group. Advocate. Campaigner. Influencer. Representative. How do lobbyists contribute to policy making in modern democracies? Lobbyists play a critical role by acting as advocates for various causes. These representatives ensure the voices of interest groups are heard, impacting policies through direct campaigning. Nonpartisan. Not aligned with or biased toward any particular political party or ideology. Neutral. Impartial. Unbiased. Objective. Why is nonpartisan governance essential in decision-making processes? Nonpartisan governance fosters trust by maintaining impartiality. Neutral or unbiased approaches ensure that decisions are made objectively, considering the welfare of the entire populace. Referendum. A vote in which the entire electorate is invited to approve or reject a proposed law. Ballot measure. Public vote. Election. Plebiscite. Can you discuss the role of referenda in shaping public policies? Referenda provide a platform for direct democracy, enabling public votes on crucial issues. Such ballots ensure inclusive decision-making processes that reflect the will of the majority. Proviso. A condition or stipulation in an agreement or contract. Clause. Requirement. Qualification. Condition. How do provisos affect contractual agreements? Provisos establish clear terms within agreements. By incorporating clauses or conditions, they ensure that all parties adhere to specific qualifications, fostering transparency and compliance. Constituency. A group of voters in a specific area who elect a representative to a legislative body. Electoral district. Voting body. Electorate. Political division. How important is the role of constituencies in parliamentary democracies? Constituencies link elected officials to specific communities. These electoral districts ensure representatives address the unique needs and concerns of their respective voters. Extradition. The formal process of transferring a fugitive or criminal to another jurisdiction for trial or punishment. Deportation. Repatriation. Rendition. Surrender. How does extradition promote international cooperation? Extradition strengthens global justice by enabling rendition of fugitives. Such processes foster international collaboration to ensure accountability and the rule of law across nations. Gubernatorial race. The election process for choosing a governor of a state or region. Governor election. State election. Provincial race. Leadership contest. Why are gubernatorial races significant in a democratic setup? Gubernatorial races decide state leadership. Such elections or leadership contests bring key issues into focus, ensuring citizens can choose representatives aligned with their priorities. Incumbency. The period during which someone holds a particular office or position. Office tenure. Current term. Authority. Occupancy. How does incumbency affect political campaigns? Incumbency often provides an advantage during campaigns. Office tenure allows candidates to showcase achievements, using their authority to convince the public of their competency. Succession. The process of inheriting or taking over a role, title, or position. Ascension. Transfer. Inheritance. Leadership shift. Why is succession planning crucial in governance? Succession ensures smooth transitions. Ascension or inheritance of leadership roles requires preparation to avoid disruptions, fostering stability and continuity in governance. Adjournment. The suspension or postponement of a meeting or session until a later time. Suspension. Postponement. Recess. Deferment. How does adjournment impact the decision-making process in assemblies? Adjournment provides time for reflection during decision-making. Such suspension or recesses enable participants to prepare better, leading to more informed and effective discussions. Judicial review. The power of courts to assess the constitutionality of laws or decisions. Legal evaluation. Constitutional check. Oversight. Judicial scrutiny. Why is judicial review considered an essential aspect of democracy? Judicial review upholds fairness by ensuring that laws comply with constitutional principles. Such oversight or scrutiny prevents misuse of power, safeguarding individual rights and justice. Ministerial. Relating to the role or duties of a government minister. Administrative. Executive. Legislative. Bureaucratic. How does ministerial leadership affect policy implementation? Ministerial leadership ensures efficient administration. Such administrative roles are crucial for executing executive decisions while maintaining legislative oversight to benefit society. Bilateralism. Cooperation or relations between two countries. Mutualism. Reciprocity. Two-way interaction. Dual cooperation. Why is bilateralism important in international relations? Bilateralism fosters mutualism by promoting two-way cooperation. Such reciprocity strengthens bonds between nations, ensuring sustainable solutions to global challenges. Protectorate. A state controlled or protected by another stronger country. Dependency. Client state. Vassal state. Subordinate region. How does the concept of a protectorate affect the sovereignty of smaller states? Protectorates benefit from economic and military support. However, such dependencies may compromise the autonomy of smaller states, creating a delicate balance in global politics. Stalemate. A situation where progress is impossible due to a deadlock. Impasse. Gridlock. Deadlock. Standstill. What are the potential consequences of a political stalemate? Political stalemates often lead to inefficiencies. Such deadlocks or gridlocks delay decision-making processes, hindering progress and causing frustrations among stakeholders. Consulate. The premises of a consul, where they represent their country's interests abroad. Diplomatic office. Embassy division. Foreign mission. Consular branch. What roles do consulates play in assisting citizens abroad? Consulates provide vital assistance to citizens, such as passport renewals and emergency support. These diplomatic offices also enhance cross-cultural ties, ensuring smooth international relations. Armada. A large fleet of warships. Fleet. Navy. Squadron. Flotilla. What role did the Armada play in historical battles? The Armada played a crucial role in dominating seas and securing territories. For example, the Spanish Armada was pivotal in naval warfare, showcasing strategic coordination that influenced global power dynamics. Mercenary. A professional soldier hired to serve in a foreign army. Soldier of fortune. Hired gun. Freelancer. Contracted fighter. Why are mercenaries controversial in modern conflicts? Mercenaries are controversial due to their profit-driven motives, often undermining ethical warfare practices. While they contribute manpower, their loyalty to employers rather than nations may complicate conflict resolutions. Armistice. An agreement made by opposing sides in a war to stop fighting for a certain time, a truce. Ceasefire. Truce. Treaty. Peace accord. How does an armistice contribute to peace-building efforts? An armistice lays the foundation for negotiations and rebuilding trust among warring factions. It symbolizes mutual willingness to halt aggression and explore pathways to permanent peace, benefiting societies scarred by conflict. Barricade. A barrier hastily constructed to block or defend against an attack. barrier, blockade, obstruction, fortification. What are the strategic uses of barricades in urban warfare? Barricades are essential in urban warfare for limiting enemy movements and protecting key areas. They provide defensive advantages by creating obstacles, enabling controlled counterattacks, and ensuring civilians' safety in conflict zones. Battalion. A large body of troops ready for battle, typically part of a brigade. Regiment. Division. Troop. Company. How does a battalion ensure effective military operations? A battalion ensures operational success by combining diverse units and expertise. The coordination among infantry, artillery, and support personnel within the battalion maximizes efficiency during combat and strategic deployments. Platoon. A small group of soldiers, usually commanded by a lieutenant. Squad. Unit. Troop. Section. What makes platoons vital in military strategy? Platoons are vital due to their adaptability and cohesion. They perform specialized tasks with precision, whether it's reconnaissance or direct combat, providing a critical link between individual soldiers and broader tactical operations. Espionage. The act of spying or using spies to gather information. Intelligence gathering. Surveillance. Covert operations. Spying. Why is espionage crucial in national security? Espionage is crucial as it uncovers hidden threats and safeguards nations from potential risks. By obtaining critical intelligence through covert methods, it allows governments to anticipate and neutralize adversaries' actions effectively. Coup. A sudden, violent, and illegal seizure of power from a government. Overthrow. Rebellion. Insurrection. Putsch. How does a coup impact political stability in a region? A coup often disrupts political stability, leading to uncertainty and potential conflict. While it may address grievances, it tends to polarize communities and create challenges for long-term governance and economic development. Guerrilla. A member of a small, independent group engaged in irregular fighting, typically against larger forces. Rebel. Insurgent. Partisan. Irregular fighter. What are the key strategies of guerrilla warfare? Guerrilla warfare relies on mobility, surprise attacks, and intimate knowledge of terrain. This strategy allows smaller forces to effectively counter larger, more structured armies, often influencing prolonged conflicts or uprisings. Onslaught. A fierce attack or the onset of something unpleasant. Assault. Offensive. Barrage. Charge. How can societies recover from the impact of an onslaught? Societies recover by investing in resilience measures, rebuilding infrastructure, and fostering unity among citizens. It requires psychological support for affected individuals and collaborative efforts to restore normalcy and prevent future disasters. Armament. Military weapons and equipment. Weaponry. Arms. Ordnance. Munitions. How has armament development influenced global security? Armament advancements have shaped global security by enhancing deterrence and defense mechanisms. Modern technologies, such as precision weapons and drones, have redefined warfare, ensuring nations remain vigilant against evolving threats. Artillery. Large-caliber guns used in warfare on land. Cannons. Howitzers. Mortars. Heavy guns. What role does artillery play in modern military operations? Artillery remains essential for providing long-range firepower and support in battles. It weakens enemy defenses and enables infantry advancement, showcasing its strategic importance in shaping the outcomes of military engagements. Arsenal. A collection of weapons and military equipment stored by a country, person, or group. Army. Stockpile. Repository. Weapon cache. Why is maintaining a strong arsenal important for nations? A robust arsenal ensures a nation's preparedness against threats. It acts as a deterrent, showcasing readiness to defend sovereignty while promoting regional stability and mutual respect among countries. Deterrent. Something that discourages or prevents an action, especially by instilling fear. Preventive measure. Impediment. Obstacle. Restraint. How do nuclear weapons act as a deterrent in global politics? Nuclear weapons serve as a deterrent by discouraging aggression. The concept of mutually assured destruction ensures that nations think twice before engaging in conflicts that could lead to catastrophic consequences for all parties involved. Ammunition. A supply of bullets and shells used in guns and weaponry. Ammo. Projectiles. Munitions. Explosives. How does ammunition logistics impact military success? Efficient ammunition logistics are critical for sustained operations. Ensuring timely supply and adequate stockpiles enables forces to maintain combat effectiveness, influencing the outcomes of prolonged engagements and ensuring mission success. Catapult. An ancient military device used to hurl projectiles over a distance. Trebuchet. Ballista. Sling. Launcher. How did catapults revolutionize ancient warfare? Catapults transformed ancient warfare by introducing siege tactics. They allowed armies to attack fortified structures from a distance, breaking walls and spreading chaos, which paved the way for ground troops to advance. Bazooka. A portable anti-tank rocket launcher. Rocket launcher. RPG. Missile launcher. Portable cannon. Why are bazookas significant in modern infantry combat? Bazookas are crucial for neutralizing armored threats on the battlefield. Their portability and ability to destroy tanks or fortifications make them an indispensable tool for infantry units during combat operations. To lance. To pierce with a sharp instrument or to open a wound or boil. Pierce. Stab. Penetrate. Slash. How would you describe an incident where something was lanced? If I were to describe a moment when something was lanced, I would say it was a situation where a sharp object, like a needle or sword, pierced the surface with force. For instance, in a medical emergency, the doctor might pierce a boil to relieve pressure or infection, a process often described as stabbing or slashing. Shrapnel. Fragments of a bomb, shell, or mine that are scattered during an explosion. Fragment. Debris. Shell. Bits. What can be the dangers of shrapnel in a war zone? The main danger of shrapnel in a war zone is its unpredictability. These tiny fragments, often from shells or bombs, can strike anyone indiscriminately. The debris from these explosions can cause severe injuries, and the bits of metal can penetrate the skin, leading to wounds and sometimes fatal outcomes. Musket. A type of firearm used from the 16th to the 19th centuries, typically with a long barrel. Rifle. Carbine. Gun. Firearm. How important was the musket in early warfare? The musket was crucial in early warfare as it allowed soldiers to engage enemies from a distance. It was more powerful than previous weapons, such as swords or bows, and its longer range made it a significant tool in battle. In terms of impact, it was a major step forward from other firearms like the rifle. Mortar. A short-barreled cannon used to fire shells at high angles. Cannon. Artillery. Shell. Bombardment. How does a mortar differ from other artillery weapons? A mortar is different from other artillery weapons due to its short barrel and ability to launch shells at a very steep angle. This makes it especially useful for hitting targets behind obstacles or fortifications. Unlike larger artillery like cannons, mortars are more mobile and easier to deploy in various situations. Affray. A violent public fight or disturbance involving a number of people. Brawl. Fight. Skirmish. Altercation. How common are affrays in crowded public areas? Affrays in crowded areas can unfortunately happen when tensions rise and individuals start brawling or fighting. Typically, these fights might involve multiple people and can quickly escalate into serious violence. While it's not an everyday occurrence, such altercations are more likely when there's high crowd density or alcohol consumption. Air raid. An attack by aircraft, usually involving bombs dropped on a target. Bombing. Assault. Attack. Strike. How do people prepare for an air raid? In the event of an air raid, people often seek shelter in underground bunkers or designated safe zones to protect themselves from bombing. Governments usually provide warning systems and emergency alerts so individuals can take immediate cover. A bombing or assault from the air can cause mass panic, so preparation is key to survival. Atrocity. A brutal or cruel act, especially one involving violence or suffering. Cruelty. Horror. Outrage. Barbarity. What are some examples of atrocities in history? Throughout history, there have been numerous examples of atrocities, such as the Holocaust or the Rwandan genocide, where cruelty and barbarity were inflicted on innocent civilians. These horrific events often result in widespread suffering and are considered major human rights violations and moral outrages. Bridgehead. A military position established on the enemy's side of a river or obstacle. Outpost. Stronghold. Position. Base. Why are bridgeheads important in warfare? Bridgeheads are crucial in warfare as they allow military forces to establish a foothold on enemy territory. This stronghold helps in securing key routes, especially when crossing rivers or other natural obstacles. Establishing a bridgehead can make further advances into enemy territory much easier and more strategic. Evacuee. A person who is forced to leave their home or country, typically due to war or disaster. Refugee. Displaced person. Survivor. Exile. How are evacuees treated during emergencies? During emergencies, evacuees are often provided with basic necessities, including food, shelter, and medical care. Governments and relief organizations typically set up camps or safe zones to house displaced people. However, the treatment of evacuees can vary depending on the available resources and political situation. Garrison. A group of troops stationed in a particular location to defend it. Fort. Barracks. Base. Troops. How does a garrison contribute to a city's defense? A garrison plays a vital role in defending a city by stationing troops who are responsible for safeguarding key positions. These troops ensure that the area is protected from invasion and maintain order. The presence of a garrison provides stability as it can prevent enemy forces from easily capturing vital locations. To blitz. To attack suddenly and intensely, especially with great force. Bombard. Strike. Assault. Devastate. What does it mean to blitz an opponent in a competitive setting? To blitz an opponent means to strike suddenly and intensely, often overwhelming them with a series of fast, aggressive moves. In chess, for example, players may blitz to force their opponent into making quick, possibly poor decisions. Similarly, in sports, a blitz strategy involves overwhelming the opposing team with rapid offensive moves. To pillage. To steal goods, especially during a war or after a disaster. Rob. Loot. Plunder. Ransack. Can you think of a historical example where pillaging occurred? One of the most famous examples of pillaging would be during the Viking invasions in the 8th and 9th centuries. The Vikings would often rob and loot towns and monasteries as they moved through Europe. This form of pillaging involved taking anything valuable, from food to precious items, and even ransacking religious sites, often leaving the communities devastated. Such acts of plundering were integral to their raids. To plunder. To take goods by force, often during a war riot. Loot. Rob. Pillage. Ransack. How does plundering differ from other forms of theft? Plundering typically refers to large-scale theft, especially in chaotic situations like war riots. Unlike simple theft, plunder often involves groups of people taking items by force from towns, ships, or even military camps. For example, soldiers might rob a town of its resources after a battle. While all forms of theft are illegal, plundering is associated with violence and mass looting, not just an individual crime. To strafe. To attack with machine gun fire from low-flying aircraft. Bombard. Assault. Attack. Barrage. Why is strafing considered an effective military tactic? Strafing is considered effective in military combat because it targets enemy troops or equipment from the air, often with machine guns or cannons mounted on aircraft. The barrage of rapid fire can cause significant damage to forces on the ground, especially if they are concentrated in a vulnerable area. It is a tactic used to disrupt enemy positions and force them into disarray, often being a surprise attack from the sky. To outflank. To move around the side of the enemy in order to attack from an unexpected direction. Outmaneuver. Encircle. Surpass. Bypass. Can outflanking an enemy give you a significant advantage? Outflanking an enemy can be a game changer, as it often catches them by surprise. By moving around the side of their position, you can attack from an unexpected direction, forcing the enemy to spread their forces or retreat. This tactic has been used in many battles throughout history, such as during World War II when armies sought to bypass heavily defended positions and cut off enemy supply lines. It often results in a strategic advantage. To annihilate. To completely destroy something or someone. Obliterate. Exterminate. Eradicate. Wipe out. How might annihilation affect both sides in a conflict? Annihilation in a conflict has a profound effect, often leading to total destruction on one side. This means that not only are the enemy forces wiped out, but the infrastructure, economy, and morale are also crushed. For example, during World War II, the annihilation of certain cities caused lasting psychological effects on the civilian population as well as military forces. It often leads to irreversible consequences for both sides. To vanquish. To defeat someone or something completely, especially in a battle or competition. Conquer. Overcome. Defeat. Triumph. How does vanquishing an opponent differ from simply winning? Vanquishing an opponent suggests a complete and overwhelming victory, where not only is the opponent defeated, but their ability to fight back is entirely destroyed. For example, in historical battles, generals sought to vanquish their enemies to ensure that there was no chance of retaliation. Winning could simply mean overcoming an opponent in a smaller way, but vanquishing involves decisively crushing all opposition and ensuring total domination. Sentry. A soldier or guard placed to keep watch over a certain area. Guard. Watchman. Sentinel. Lookout. How important is a sentry in ensuring security? A sentry is vital for security, especially in military settings, as they are responsible for guarding key positions. For example, they act as the first line of defense, alerting others to any threats. A sentinel or lookout is constantly vigilant, ensuring no intruders get past their watch, and a guard provides valuable intelligence to military personnel regarding any movement or danger nearby. Conscription. The compulsory enlistment of people in a national service, particularly in the military. Draft. Enrollment. Recruitment. Obligation. What are some of the challenges of conscription in a country? Conscription often creates tension in a society, as people are forced to join the military, even if they don't want to. For example, during wartime, nations draft individuals who are then required to serve in the military, which can cause resentment. The process of recruitment can be difficult, especially if citizens feel it's an unfair obligation or if the country lacks sufficient preparation for such a large mobilization. Parapet. A low protective wall along the edge of a roof, bridge, or trench, often used in military defense. Barrier. Wall. Rampart. Fortification. What role does a parapet play in military defense? A parapet plays a critical role in military defense by offering soldiers protection from enemy fire. It acts as a barrier, shielding troops from incoming projectiles while allowing them to return fire. Fortifications like parapets were used extensively during the World Wars, providing soldiers with safety while they defended strategic positions. Similarly, a rampart or wall provides the same defense against potential attacks. Reconnaissance. The exploration or survey of an area, usually for military purposes, to gather information. Survey. Exploration. Inspection. Scouting. Why is reconnaissance crucial in a military operation? Reconnaissance is crucial in military operations because it helps gather essential information about enemy positions and terrain. Before an assault, conducting a survey of the area allows commanders to understand the layout and plan accordingly. By scouting the terrain and inspecting enemy lines, military forces can avoid surprises, gain the upper hand, and ensure a well-informed strategy for an attack or defense. Maneuver. A movement or series of movements requiring skill and care, often used in military strategy. Tactic. Strategy. Move. Operation. How does maneuvering play a role in military success? Maneuvering is a key aspect of military success because it involves strategic movement to outsmart or outflank the enemy. A well-executed tactic can catch the opposing forces off guard, allowing an army to gain a positional advantage. In some situations, maneuvering involves deploying forces to perform precise operations, creating confusion among the enemy and ensuring victory. Tactics can involve diverse moves, from ambushes to flank attacks. Scorched earth policy. A military strategy that involves destroying anything that might be useful to the enemy, including crops, infrastructure, and resources. Devastation. Destruction. Ravaging. Ruin. What are the consequences of employing a scorched earth policy? The consequences of a scorched earth policy can be devastating to both the enemy and the population involved. When crops, buildings, and resources are destroyed, the enemy is left without supplies, but it also harms the local civilian population. For instance, during World War II, the Soviet Union used this tactic to slow the advancing German forces, but it resulted in long-term devastation to their own land. This policy can bring short-term military benefits but long-term humanitarian damage. Emplacement. A position or location where military equipment, such as a gun or missile, is placed for use. Position. Site. Station. Location. How do emplacements contribute to military defense? Emplacements are crucial in military defense as they provide a stable and fortified location for weapons like guns or missile launchers. By positioning heavy artillery at key points, soldiers can maximize the effectiveness of their firepower. A well-chosen emplacement allows for better coverage and control of the surrounding area, ensuring that any advancing enemy forces are stopped before reaching strategic objectives. Fortification. A defensive wall or structure, especially one built to protect against attacks. Wall. Rampart. Barrier. Bastion. How do fortifications impact the outcome of battles? Fortifications are vital in determining the outcome of battles as they provide essential protection to defending forces. Walls and ramparts act as a defense against enemy attacks, forcing the opposition to either breach the walls or face significant casualties. Historically, fortified positions were nearly impregnable, and they allowed defenders to hold strategic areas for extended periods. Such bastions create strongholds that are difficult to overcome. Militia. A military force raised from the civilian population to supplement a regular army, often in emergencies. Volunteer force. Army reserves. National Guard. Paramilitary. How effective is a militia compared to a regular army? A militia, although often less trained than a regular army, can be highly effective in certain situations, especially during emergencies. Volunteer forces and National Guards are often called upon when additional manpower is needed quickly, such as during natural disasters or uprisings. While they may not have the same tactical training as a professional army, their local knowledge and ability to mobilize quickly can make them highly valuable in specific circumstances. Regiment. A unit of soldiers, typically consisting of several battalions, that forms part of a brigade. Battalion. Division. Squadron. Corps. How does the organization of a regiment contribute to military success? The organization of a regiment is crucial in military success because it creates a structured and cohesive fighting unit. A regiment allows for specialized coordination between battalions, ensuring that different units work together towards a common objective. By operating as part of a larger division or corps, regiments can share resources, intelligence, and manpower, leading to more efficient and effective operations during warfare. Subjugation. The action or process of bringing someone or something under control or domination. Domination. Conquest. Suppression. Control. What are the effects of subjugation on a conquered people? Subjugation often leads to the loss of freedom and autonomy for the conquered people. Historically, when one nation subjugates another, it forces the defeated population to accept the conqueror's laws, culture, and governance. This often results in widespread resentment, oppression, and economic exploitation. For example, during colonial times, many indigenous populations were subjugated, leading to a loss of cultural identity and economic disparity. Tactical retreat. A strategic withdrawal of troops from a battlefield to avoid destruction, often to fight another day. Withdrawal. Retreat. Pullback. Repositioning. How can a tactical retreat be a smart strategy in a battle? A tactical retreat is a smart strategy because it allows a military force to withdraw when the situation is unfavorable, preserving strength for future engagements. For example, during World War II, many armies executed retreats to reorganize and avoid complete annihilation. By pulling back, forces can regroup, protect vital assets, and return to fight when conditions are more favorable, ensuring long-term survival in a prolonged conflict. Warhead. The explosive part of a missile or projectile designed to cause destruction. Payload. Explosive. Bomb. Charge. What role does a warhead play in modern warfare? A warhead plays a crucial role in modern warfare because it is the primary component that causes destruction in a missile or projectile. Whether it's a nuclear warhead or a conventional explosive payload, the warhead is designed to maximize damage upon impact. For instance, in the context of missile strikes, the explosive charge within the warhead is what determines the devastating effect of the attack. Defector. A person who abandons their country, cause, or allegiance, often for ideological reasons. Turncoat. Traitor. Renegade. Apostate. Why do you think people might become defectors in times of war? Defectors often become disillusioned with their own side's cause, especially in times of war, when they may witness atrocities or oppression. A turncoat might abandon their allegiance for a different ideology or out of fear for their safety. In extreme cases, a renegade might switch sides because they are promised better treatment or protection, while an apostate might seek a life of freedom away from conflict. Hostilities. Acts of aggression or war between groups or countries. Conflict. Warfare. Combat. Aggression. How do hostilities impact the civilian population? Hostilities can have a devastating impact on civilians as they are often caught in the crossfire of conflict. Warfare disrupts daily life, displaces families, and leads to significant loss of life. Combat zones become dangerous places for ordinary people as they face not only physical dangers but also shortages of food and medical supplies. Aggression from both sides can lead to a humanitarian crisis affecting entire regions. Camouflage. A method of concealing people, animals, or equipment by blending them into their surroundings. Concealment. Disguise. Cover. Masking. How effective is camouflage in military operations? Camouflage is highly effective in military operations because it helps conceal soldiers and equipment from the enemy. By blending into their surroundings through techniques like using natural materials for cover, they can avoid detection. Disguise and masking make it difficult for adversaries to spot troops or vehicles, giving them a tactical advantage. Concealment allows forces to remain hidden while planning their next move, ensuring surprise and stealth. Ceasefire. A temporary stoppage of fighting, typically agreed upon by warring parties. Truce. Armistice. Suspension. Halt. Why is a ceasefire important during armed conflict? A ceasefire is crucial during armed conflict because it provides a moment of relief and a chance for both sides to negotiate or tend to the wounded. A truce or armistice can pave the way for peace talks, ensuring that hostilities are temporarily suspended while the necessary diplomatic efforts are made. The suspension of fighting, even if brief, can prevent further casualties and create an environment for potential reconciliation. Emissary. A person sent on a diplomatic mission, often to represent their country in negotiations. Ambassador. Diplomat. Envoy. Representative. What qualities do you think an emissary should have? An emissary should possess excellent negotiation skills and a deep understanding of diplomacy. An ambassador or diplomat must be capable of representing their country's interests while maintaining a neutral and composed demeanor. As an envoy, the emissary should also be culturally sensitive, tactful, and able to communicate effectively with various stakeholders, ensuring that their mission is successful in fostering peaceful relations. Counteroffensive. An attack made to reverse the enemy's offensive, typically after a period of defense. Counterattack. Retaliation. Reversal. Offensive. How does a counteroffensive change the course of a battle? A counteroffensive can drastically change the course of a battle by shifting the momentum back to the defending side. For instance, after withstanding heavy attacks, a counterattack allows the defending forces to retaliate and reclaim lost ground. Retaliation serves as a powerful response, demonstrating strength and resilience. By launching a reversal of strategy, forces can break the enemy's confidence and take back control, altering the balance of power. Peacekeeping. The maintenance of peace by a neutral force, typically after a ceasefire or peace agreement. Mediation. Intercession. Arbitration. Conflict resolution. Why is peacekeeping important after a conflict ends? Peacekeeping is essential after a conflict ends because it helps to stabilize the region and prevent a relapse into violence. By acting as neutral mediators, peacekeeping forces assist in ensuring that both sides adhere to ceasefire agreements and peace treaties. Intercession by international bodies can help ease tensions, while arbitration helps resolve disputes. Effective peacekeeping enables countries to rebuild and prevents further bloodshed. Populism. A political approach appealing to ordinary people, often against elites. Popularism. Grassroots. Public voice. Mass appeal. How does populism influence modern politics? Populism plays a significant role in politics by creating a connection between leaders and the common people. With its focus on grassroots efforts and public voice, it often challenges elites and emphasizes mass appeal, ensuring broader public engagement. Totalitarianism. A political system centralized, dictatorial, requiring complete subservience. Authoritarianism. Despotism. Tyranny. Autocracy. What are the impacts of totalitarianism on a society? Totalitarianism often leads to a lack of personal freedoms due to its authoritarian control. This system fosters despotism and tyranny, creating an oppressive environment. Autocracy ensures centralized control, often stifling innovation and individuality. Bipartisan. cooperation or agreement between two opposing political parties. Cross-party, two-party, dual-party, unified approach. Why is bipartisan cooperation important in policymaking? Bipartisan cooperation ensures balanced policies through a unified approach. Cross-party collaboration promotes consensus, while a two-party system fosters dialogue. This dual-party effort is vital for effective governance, bridging divides to achieve collective goals. Caucus, a meeting of members of a political party to make decisions or select candidates. Assembly, council, gathering, session. How does a caucus contribute to democratic decision-making? A caucus allows party members to voice opinions and make informed decisions. Through assemblies or councils, participants engage in discussions. This gathering format ensures inclusivity, and sessions encourage transparency, strengthening democratic systems. Psephology, the study of elections and voting behavior. Election science, electoral analysis, vote studies, ballot research. What is the significance of psephology in understanding elections? Psephology provides insights into voting patterns, enabling accurate election predictions. With electoral analysis and election science, researchers identify trends. Vote studies and ballot research also help in formulating better electoral strategies for future elections. Agitprop, political propaganda, especially in art or literature. Propaganda, political messaging. Indoctrination, persuasion. How does agitprop influence public opinion? Agitprop shapes public opinion by using propaganda in creative forms like art or literature. Political messaging becomes more impactful through persuasion and indoctrination, making ideas resonate. It promotes awareness, though sometimes at the cost of objectivity. Brinkmanship, the practice of pushing dangerous events to the edge to achieve goals. Risk-taking, gamble. Edge strategy, high stakes. How is brinkmanship used in international relations? Brinkmanship, a strategy of high stakes and risk-taking, is often employed in diplomacy. This edge strategy involves calculated gambles, pushing boundaries to gain leverage. While effective, it carries the risk of escalating conflicts if not managed carefully. Constitutionalism, the principle of governing according to a constitution to ensure legality and limit power. Rule of law, governance, legal framework, charter principles. How does constitutionalism protect democracy? Constitutionalism protects democracy by ensuring governance follows a legal framework. The rule of law upholds equality and prevents abuse of power. Governance based on charter principles fosters accountability, making democracy resilient and fair for all citizens. Dog whistle, a coded message that conveys a hidden meaning to a specific audience. Subtle signal, coded message. Political cue, hidden language. How is a dog whistle used in political speeches? Dog whistles are subtle signals in political speeches, delivering coded messages. These political cues use hidden language to resonate with specific groups. While subtle, such techniques influence opinions, making speeches impactful yet often divisive. Geopolitics, the study of political and economic influence on geographical areas. International relations, global strategy, geostrategy, political geography. Why is geopolitics important in today's world? Geopolitics highlights the role of political geography and international relations in global decisions. Through global strategies and geostrategy, nations navigate economic challenges, ensuring balanced cooperation and minimizing conflicts on a global scale. Power politics. A political strategy focused on coercion, force, or control to achieve objectives. Realpolitik. Political dominance. Machiavellianism. Strategic control. How does power politics shape international relations? Power politics often involves strategic control to achieve goals. Realpolitik and political dominance prioritize national interests, sometimes using Machiavellian tactics. Such approaches shape international relations, emphasizing strength over consensus or diplomacy. Fanaticism. Extreme zeal or obsession with a specific cause, belief, or ideology. Extremism. Zealotry. Radicalism. Obsession. What are the dangers of fanaticism in society? Fanaticism, characterized by extremism and zealotry, can disrupt societal harmony. Radicalism and obsession with singular causes may marginalize differing views, fostering conflict. Balanced perspectives are essential to counter the challenges posed by such intense ideologies. Hard left. Politically, an extreme left-wing ideology advocating drastic social and economic reforms. Radical left. Socialist wing. Progressive extremes. Revolutionary left. How does the hard left influence modern political discourse? The hard left impacts political discourse by advocating revolutionary ideas. Emphasizing socialist reforms and progressive extremes, the radical left pushes transformative agendas. While divisive, such efforts often highlight neglected issues, driving necessary conversations. Hard right. Politically, an extreme right-wing ideology focusing on nationalism and conservative policies. Far right. Ultra-conservatism. Reactionary views. Nationalist wing. What are the implications of the hard right on policymaking? The hard right influences policymaking with ultra-conservatism and nationalist priorities. Far-right ideologies often reflect reactionary views, promoting strict policies. While polarizing, these approaches emphasize cultural preservation and national security. Militarism. The belief in maintaining a strong military capability and using it to promote national interests. Military power. Armed forces. Defense policy. Martial strength. How does militarism affect international peace efforts? Militarism often impacts global peace efforts as countries focus on defense policy and martial strength. While it ensures security, the emphasis on armed forces and military power may escalate tensions, creating challenges for diplomatic resolutions. Statism. The practice of centralizing control in a government over economic and social policy. Centralism. Government control. State dominance. Authoritarianism. What are the advantages and disadvantages of statism? Statism promotes state dominance, ensuring efficient governance and centralism. However, it can lead to excessive government control, bordering on authoritarianism. While it fosters economic stability, it might limit individual freedom and private enterprise. Unilateralism. The policy of a single nation acting independently without consulting others. Independent policy. One-sided approach. Solo strategy. Non-cooperative stance. Why is unilateralism controversial in global politics? Unilateralism, with its solo strategy and independent policy, is often criticized for ignoring cooperation. Such a one-sided approach can strain international relations. While effective for quick decisions, it risks alienating other nations and harming alliances. Incumbent. A person currently holding an official position or office. Officeholder. Current leader. Occupant. Sitting official. What challenges do incumbents face in re-election campaigns? Incumbents face scrutiny as sitting officials. Their performance as current leaders is often judged harshly. While their experience as officeholders provides an advantage, past decisions can influence public perception, making re-election campaigns particularly demanding. Sedition. Conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against authority. Incitement. Rebellion. Subversion. Insurrection. Why is sedition viewed as a serious offense in governance? Sedition threatens governance by inciting rebellion or insurrection. Acts of subversion undermine authority, destabilizing order. While free speech is important, incitement that disrupts peace must be addressed to maintain societal harmony and security. Suffrage. The right to vote in political elections. Voting rights. Electoral privilege. Ballot access. Franchise. How has suffrage evolved over time in democratic societies? Suffrage, often seen as a franchise or electoral privilege, has expanded to include more groups historically excluded. Voting rights ensure ballot access for all citizens, reflecting a shift towards inclusivity and equal representation in democratic systems. Siege. A military operation where forces surround a place, cutting off essential supplies to compel surrender. Encirclement. Blockade. Besiegement. Isolation. How does a siege impact the lives of civilians? A siege isolates communities, cutting off essential resources through encirclement. Blockades often result in besiegement, causing hardships for civilians. This strategy pressures authorities to surrender but at a significant humanitarian cost. Red tape. Excessive bureaucracy or adherence to rules, hindering decision-making or action. Bureaucratic hurdles. Administrative burden. Procedural delays. Inefficiency. Why is red tape considered a challenge in governance? Red tape, characterized by procedural delays and bureaucratic hurdles, often slows governance. Administrative burdens create inefficiency, making processes cumbersome. Reducing unnecessary regulations can streamline decision-making and improve public service delivery. To promulgate. To formally proclaim or put into effect a law, policy, or idea. Announce. Declare. Publicize. Enact. How does promulgating laws benefit society? Promulgating laws ensures their enactment and public awareness. Formal declarations help citizens understand their rights and responsibilities. Announcements and publicity make legal frameworks accessible, fostering a sense of order, accountability, and compliance in society. Skirmish. A minor or brief conflict, often between small groups. Clash. Confrontation. Encounter. Engagement. How do skirmishes affect larger conflicts? Skirmishes, often seen as minor clashes or confrontations, can escalate larger conflicts. While brief, these engagements may trigger significant reactions, influencing outcomes. Strategic encounters highlight the unpredictability of warfare and the importance of diplomacy. Absolutism. A political system in which a ruler holds total power, unrestricted by laws or opposition. Despotism. Autocracy. Tyranny. Totalitarianism. What are the consequences of absolutism for a society? Absolutism, often equated with tyranny or despotism, centralizes power, reducing freedom. Autocracy ensures quick decision-making but stifles dissent. Totalitarianism risks suppressing innovation and dissent, creating an environment prone to authoritarian abuse. Bureaucracy. A system of government with many departments and officials, often leading to rigid procedures. Administration. Officialdom. Red tape. Civil service. How does bureaucracy impact efficiency in governance? Bureaucracy ensures organized administration and civil service operations. However, officialdom often leads to delays due to red tape. While it provides structure, its rigid procedures can hinder efficiency, making governance less flexible and adaptive to urgent needs. Mandate. The authority given to carry out a specific policy or action, often through an election. Authorization. Directive. Empowerment. Commission. What role does a mandate play in implementing policies? A mandate grants leaders empowerment and authorization to enact policies. This commission reflects public support, ensuring decisions align with directives. With such authority, governments or organizations can focus on implementing key strategies efficiently and effectively. Coalition. An alliance of different groups or parties coming together for a common purpose. Partnership. Alliance. Union. Collaboration. How do coalitions contribute to political stability? Coalitions foster collaboration and create partnerships between diverse groups. These alliances and unions enable balanced decision-making, addressing varied interests. Political stability often arises when parties work collectively towards shared objectives, avoiding conflicts. Partisanship. Strong allegiance to a particular party or cause, often leading to bias. Political bias. Factionalism. Advocacy. Partisan support. How does partisanship affect democratic systems? Partisanship, characterized by political bias and factionalism, can undermine democracy. Advocacy for one-sided agendas may lead to partisan support, restricting dialogue. Balanced perspectives are crucial for fostering inclusivity in democratic institutions and governance. Oligarchy. A form of government where power is held by a small group of individuals or families. Elitism. Plutocracy. Power monopoly. Aristocracy. What are the disadvantages of living under an oligarchy? Oligarchy concentrates power in an aristocracy or elite group, promoting elitism. This plutocracy often creates a power monopoly, marginalizing ordinary citizens. Such governance risks inequality, restricting opportunities for broader societal representation. Anarchism. A political theory advocating self-governance and rejecting authority or hierarchical systems. Anti-authoritarianism. Autonomy. Libertarianism. Stateless society. What are the challenges of anarchism as a political ideology? Anarchism, promoting autonomy and libertarianism, rejects hierarchical systems. While idealistic, anti-authoritarianism often struggles to manage societal needs. Stateless societies risk chaos, making organized governance and social order difficult to establish or maintain. Interventionism. A policy of interfering in the affairs of another nation, often for political, economic, or humanitarian reasons. Interference. Mediation. Intrusion. Involvement. How does interventionism affect international relations? Interventionism involves interference or mediation in global affairs. While it can foster involvement to address humanitarian crises, excessive intrusion may strain relations. Nations must balance mediation efforts with respecting sovereignty to maintain mutual trust. Electorate. All the people in a country or area who are entitled to vote in an election. Voters. Constituency. Ballot group. Electoral body. Why is the participation of the electorate important in elections? The electorate, comprising voters and the electoral body, plays a critical role in democracy. Constituencies must engage actively in elections to ensure fair representation. Ballot groups reflect societal voices, creating a foundation for accountable governance. Hegemony. Leadership or dominance, particularly of one state or group over others. Supremacy. Control. Domination. Leadership. How does hegemony influence global power dynamics? Hegemony, marked by supremacy and leadership, often reshapes global power dynamics. While control and domination by a single entity may stabilize some regions, it risks creating imbalances that hinder collective decision-making and fair cooperation among nations. Ideologue. Someone who strongly advocates for a particular ideology or set of beliefs, often without compromise. Advocate. Visionary. Devotee. Believer. What challenges do ideologues face in modern political discourse? Ideologues, as advocates or believers, often encounter resistance to uncompromising views. Visionaries and devotees aim to drive change, but rigid stances may limit collaboration, highlighting the need for flexible approaches in addressing contemporary political challenges. Lobbying. The act of seeking to influence decision-makers, particularly lawmakers, to support specific interests or policies. Advocacy. Persuasion. Influence. Representation. Why is lobbying considered both beneficial and controversial? Lobbying, through advocacy and representation, ensures diverse interests are voiced. However, persuasion tactics and influence can lead to concerns about fairness. Striking a balance ensures transparency while enabling stakeholders to contribute effectively to decision-making. Pluralism. A system in which multiple groups, beliefs, or ideas coexist and are recognized. Diversity. Inclusivity. Multiculturalism. Coexistence. How does pluralism benefit modern societies? Pluralism enriches societies by fostering inclusivity and multiculturalism. By recognizing diversity and encouraging coexistence, it promotes harmony and understanding. This system ensures a balanced representation of various perspectives, strengthening social cohesion. Realpolitik. A pragmatic and practical approach to politics, focusing on power and material factors. Pragmatism. Power politics. Practical politics. Strategic governance. What role does realpolitik play in international diplomacy? Realpolitik emphasizes pragmatism and strategic governance in diplomacy. By focusing on power politics and practical approaches, nations prioritize realistic goals. This method ensures that policies remain grounded in achieving tangible and meaningful outcomes. Isolationism. A policy of avoiding political or economic involvement with other countries. Non-intervention. Detachment. Self-sufficiency. Neutrality. What are the potential advantages of isolationism for a nation? Isolationism can promote self-sufficiency and neutrality, allowing nations to focus on internal growth. Detachment from foreign affairs reduces risks of conflict, while non-intervention ensures independence and shields a country from external entanglements. Diplomatic immunity. The privilege that exempts diplomats from local laws, ensuring their protection and freedom. Legal immunity. Diplomatic privilege. Diplomatic protection. Exemption. Why is diplomatic immunity important in international relations? Diplomatic immunity safeguards diplomats through legal immunity and privilege. By granting exemption from local laws, it ensures their freedom to perform duties without interference. This diplomatic protection fosters mutual respect and smooth international communication. Referendum. A direct vote in which citizens decide on a specific political question or policy. Popular vote. Public ballot. Direct democracy. Electoral decision. How does a referendum empower citizens in a democracy? A referendum empowers citizens by allowing direct democracy and public ballots on key decisions. Through popular votes and electoral decisions, people can influence policies, ensuring governance reflects the collective will and enhances public participation. Autocracy. A system of government where one individual has absolute power. Dictatorship. Absolute rule. Authoritarianism. Despotism. What are the drawbacks of autocracy as a political system? Autocracy often leads to authoritarianism and despotism, curbing individual freedoms. Under absolute rule or dictatorship, decision-making lacks transparency. While efficient in certain cases, the absence of checks and balances risks abuse of power and societal inequality. Gerrymandering. Manipulating electoral district boundaries to favor one party or group. Electoral manipulation. Boundary rigging. District tweaking. Vote engineering. How does gerrymandering affect electoral fairness? Gerrymandering undermines fairness by using electoral manipulation to favor specific groups. Boundary rigging or vote engineering distorts representation, weakening democracy. Ensuring transparent systems is key to preventing the misuse of district tweaking strategies. Sovereignty. Supreme authority or control over a state or territory. Autonomy. Independence. Self-rule. National authority. Why is sovereignty vital for a nation's identity? Sovereignty ensures autonomy and independence, protecting self-rule. National authority provides stability, allowing nations to govern without external interference. This recognition strengthens a country's identity and fosters political and economic resilience. Insurrection. A violent uprising against an authority or government. Revolt. Rebellion. Uprising. Mutiny. What are the consequences of an insurrection on a nation? Insurrection disrupts order by causing rebellion or mutiny. Such uprisings often lead to revolts that destabilize governments. While protests for change are necessary, violent acts risk societal harmony, creating long-lasting political and economic repercussions. Neocolonialism. The practice of using economic, political, or cultural pressures to control or influence other countries. Economic domination. Modern imperialism. Indirect rule. Covert control. How does neocolonialism manifest in modern global relations? Neocolonialism, often seen as modern imperialism, uses covert control to influence nations. Through economic domination and indirect rule, it impacts weaker countries. Such practices highlight the need for equity and fairness in global partnerships. Impeachment. The formal process of charging a government official with misconduct. Indictment. Accusation. Trial process. Formal removal. What is the significance of impeachment in a democratic system? Impeachment safeguards democracy by addressing misconduct through formal removal or indictment. Accusations during trial processes ensure accountability. While necessary, it is crucial to balance its use to prevent political manipulation and maintain trust in governance. Nation-state. A sovereign state whose citizens are united by shared culture, language, or history. Country. Sovereign entity. Unified state. Political unit. How does a nation-state strengthen its citizens' sense of belonging? A nation-state fosters unity as a sovereign entity, aligning cultural and historical ties. As a unified state, it offers citizens a sense of shared purpose. Political units like these provide stability, creating solidarity while respecting diverse cultural expressions. Political capital. The trust, goodwill, and influence a political figure or organization has. Influence. Trust. Credibility. Public support. Why is political capital important for leaders? Political capital, built on trust and credibility, enables leaders to influence decisions. Public support boosts their ability to implement policies effectively. Without maintaining this goodwill, their capacity to navigate challenges and achieve goals diminishes significantly. Measurement. The process of determining the size, amount, or degree of something. Dimension. Size. Extent. Quantity. How important is accurate measurement in scientific experiments? Accurate measurement is crucial in scientific experiments because it ensures reliable results. Without precise dimensions, it's difficult to assess the true size of objects or phenomena. The extent of an experiment's effect can be determined only through careful quantification, which directly impacts the experiment's outcome. Altimeter. An instrument used to measure the altitude or height above a fixed level. Elevation meter. Height gauge. Altitude sensor. Height indicator. How do altimeters contribute to aviation safety? Altimeters play a vital role in aviation safety as they provide accurate elevation data, helping pilots to navigate safely. They act as a height indicator, enabling pilots to maintain the correct altitude during flights. The use of height gauges ensures that aircraft do not accidentally fly at unsafe heights, especially in bad weather conditions. Ampere. A unit of electric current in the International System of Units, SI. Amp. Current unit. Electric charge. Power unit. How is the ampere used in everyday electrical devices? The ampere is essential for determining the flow of electricity in everyday devices. For instance, in household appliances, the amount of current unit required is typically measured in amps to ensure safe operation. It also helps calculate the amount of electric charge flowing through circuits, ensuring they function properly and efficiently without causing electrical overloads. Barometer. An instrument for measuring atmospheric pressure. Pressure gauge. Atmospheric sensor. Weather meter. Air pressure meter. How does a barometer help in weather forecasting? A barometer is essential in predicting weather changes by measuring atmospheric pressure. When the pressure gauge detects fluctuations, meteorologists can forecast weather patterns like approaching storms or clear skies. Air pressure meters are indispensable in identifying pressure drops that often indicate bad weather. Using this data, weather predictions are more accurate and reliable. Carat. A unit of weight used for measuring gemstones and pearls. Gem weight. Precious stone weight. Diamond weight. Stone measure. Why is the carat significant in the value of gemstones? The carat is a crucial measurement for determining the value of gemstones, especially diamonds. A higher gem weight often leads to a higher value, as larger stones are rarer and more precious. For example, the precious stone weight is a key factor in pricing diamonds. Jewelers also rely on diamond weight to assess the rarity and overall worth of a piece, influencing its market price. Pace. The speed at which someone or something moves or progresses. Speed. Rate. Velocity. Tempo. How does pace affect the outcome of a marathon? The pace of a runner is essential in determining the success of a marathon. Maintaining a consistent speed allows for better endurance throughout the race. The rate of movement can also impact a runner's energy levels, as they need to conserve stamina. Additionally, their velocity must be managed to avoid exhaustion, ultimately influencing their overall time and placement in the race. Perimeter. The total length of the boundary of a shape or area. Boundary. Circumference. Edge. Outline. Why is knowing the perimeter important in construction? Knowing the perimeter of a construction site is essential for planning and resource management. It defines the boundary within which work can be done. The circumference helps architects determine how much material is required for fencing or security. The edge of the area marks the limits for excavation or building. The outline of a construction plan often depends on accurately measuring the perimeter. Pint. A unit of liquid capacity equal to half a quart. Liquid measure. Fluid capacity. Volume. Drink measure. How do pints compare to other units of measurement for liquids? A pint is commonly used to measure beverages, especially in countries like the US and UK. Compared to other liquid measures, it's smaller than a quart but larger than a cup. The fluid capacity of a pint is about 473 milliliters in the US, while in the UK it holds 568 milliliters. It's often used in the drink measure of beer and milk, offering a manageable amount for consumption. For larger quantities, liters or gallons are preferred. Pixel. The smallest unit of an image displayed on a screen. Image point. Picture element. Screen unit. Display dot. How do pixels affect the quality of digital images? Pixels are the fundamental building blocks of digital images. A higher number of image points in a photo means greater detail and resolution. In turn, this makes the picture appear clearer and sharper. The picture element of an image contributes to its overall appearance, while screen units, pixels, create the final image that we see. The more pixels there are, the more realistic the image looks. Quart. A unit of liquid capacity equal to 1/4 of a gallon. Liquid quart. Volume measure. Fluid unit. Measure. How does a quart compare to other liquid units? A quart is equal to 1/4 of a gallon, which is useful for measuring liquids in cooking. Compared to other volume measures, it's larger than a pint but smaller than a gallon. One fluid unit of a quart is approximately 946 milliliters in the US. It's often used to measure things like milk or oil, making it a practical measure for household recipes or small-scale liquid measurements. Thermometer. An instrument used to measure temperature. Temperature gauge. Heat sensor. Thermic device. Heat indicator. How important is a thermometer in monitoring health? A thermometer is essential in health monitoring, especially for detecting fever. It acts as a temperature gauge, providing an accurate reading of the body's temperature. By using a heat sensor, one can quickly determine whether a person has an abnormally high temperature. In medical settings, it serves as a heat indicator to assess the severity of illness and guide further treatment. Odometer. A device used to measure the distance traveled by a vehicle. Mileage meter. Distance counter. Trip recorder. Travel gauge. How important is an odometer in vehicle maintenance? An odometer is crucial in vehicle maintenance as it tracks the total mileage of a car, helping to determine when to perform regular services. It serves as a distance counter, giving accurate data on the car's travel over time. A trip recorder can also be used to measure distances on short journeys, while a travel gauge is useful for monitoring long-term wear and tear. Kilowatt. A unit of power equal to 1,000 watts, often used to measure electricity consumption or generation. Power unit. Energy unit. Wattage. Electric power. How do kilowatts play a role in energy consumption at home? Kilowatts are an important unit for measuring energy consumption in households. They help consumers understand their power usage by determining the total energy unit needed to run various appliances. For example, an electric heater's wattage indicates how much power it requires. A clear understanding of electric power helps individuals manage their electricity bills more effectively. Nanometer. A unit of length equal to 1/1,000,000th of a meter, often used in measuring wavelengths. Microscopic unit. Tiny measure. Molecular scale. Atomic dimension. Why is a nanometer used in scientific research? A nanometer is crucial in scientific research because it allows scientists to measure extremely small distances. At the microscopic unit level, researchers can analyze things like molecular structures. It provides an exact tiny measure for things at the molecular scale, enabling a deeper understanding of atomic behavior and material properties. This is especially important in fields like nanotechnology and physics. Hectare. A unit of area equal to 10,000 square meters, commonly used in measuring large land areas. Acre. Land unit. Plot size. Surface area. How is the hectare useful in agriculture? A hectare is essential in agriculture for measuring large areas of farmland. It is equivalent to about 2.47 acres, so it's easier to use than acres when dealing with expansive land. The land unit helps farmers plan their crops based on the total plot size available. Additionally, understanding the surface area of farmland allows for more efficient management of resources, such as water and fertilizers. Caliper. A tool used to measure the distance between two opposite sides of an object. Measuring tool. Gauge. Ruler. Vernier caliper. How do calipers assist in precise measurements? Calipers are vital for accurate measurements, especially in engineering and manufacturing. They act as a precise measuring tool, allowing users to measure the inner or outer diameter of objects. A gauge in this case can measure the thickness of materials, while a traditional ruler is more limited in its capacity. A vernier caliper provides even finer precision, making it essential in fields requiring high accuracy. Lumen. A unit of luminous flux, measuring the total quantity of light emitted by a source. Light unit. Brightness. Illumination. Radiance. Why is lumen important in lighting design? Lumen is crucial in lighting design because it quantifies how much light a source emits. For example, a higher light unit means a brighter bulb, suitable for larger spaces. Brightness and illumination are directly related to the lumen output, determining how well lit a room will be. In addition, radiance plays a role in defining how efficient the lighting system is, helping to create a comfortable environment in both residential and commercial settings. Parsec. A unit of distance used in astronomy, equal to about 3.26 light-years. Astronomical unit. Star distance. Space unit. Cosmic measure. How does the parsec contribute to our understanding of the universe? A parsec is fundamental in astronomy, helping scientists measure vast distances between stars. It is more convenient than using smaller units, such as light-years, to describe astronomical unit distances. The star distance between celestial bodies can be expressed with greater clarity using a parsec. By providing a larger space unit, the cosmic measure allows astronomers to study the scale and structure of the universe more effectively. Astronomical unit, AU. A unit of measurement equal to the average distance from the Earth to the Sun, about 93 million miles. Solar distance. Earth-Sun distance. Orbital distance. Celestial unit. How does the astronomical unit, AU, help in studying space? The astronomical unit, AU, is essential for understanding the distance between celestial bodies in our solar system. It simplifies the concept of solar distance, making it easier to measure and compare distances from Earth to various planets. The Earth-Sun distance is expressed in AU to give a more manageable figure. Orbital distance calculations, especially for satellite orbits, rely heavily on this unit to define the exact path of objects around the Sun.